So here we have seen that at every stage, whenever there is reproduction, whenever there is a copying of new cell, production of new cell from the parent, there are some changes in the DNA which we are calling them as variations. Now let us see what are these variations. Are they really helpful for the organism or useless? The variations are very helpful for the organisms. How? How they are useful? So overall, in general, we discussed that variations are helpful for the process of evolution. Let us see how the variations are helpful for the organisms. Different organisms live in different places. If you take an ecosystem, if you take a pond ecosystem, in pond there are different levels. There are some organisms that live on the surface of the pond, some live in the top layer of the pond, some as a bottom feeders, some plants grow at the bottom, some plants float on that, some organisms live on the bunds of the pond, some trees grow here. So likewise, if you see an ecosystem, different organisms live at different places. Why do they choose a specific place? Which comforts their nutrition as well as their reproduction. If the organism is comfortably get its food and reproduce here, it will live here. If an organism is comfortable to get its food and reproduce here, it will live here. So the organisms, they live in the place of their comfort, that is their habitat, which provide everything for their maintenance, for their nutrition, for their growth and for their reproduction. They select such place as their habitat. So the habitat of an organism is that the place in which an organism gets everything to survive. So in an ecosystem, there are different places, different organisms fill in different places called as a niche of the organism. So the organism is comfortably, happily living in a particular niche. It is living there happily. So the organism produces the young ones. If the young ones are exactly identical, if there are no variations, what happens? See, if this organism X, it produced organism Y, it produced organism Z. So the organisms, there is no change. Just think that there is no change in the characteristics or variations. If there are no variations, they are living in some niche, some place, environment. This X organism is living in a water which is of 30 degrees temperature. But when it comes to the next generation, the environmental factors may not stay in the same way. They may be changing. They are not under the control of organism. Because of global warming, the temperature is raised to 35. If this organism is exactly like its parent without any changes, will it survive at this temperature? Doubtful. The next copy also exactly identical to the parent X. The Z is also exactly identical to X. Here the temperature is 45 or 40. So the organism definitely it will die. That means it is not adjusted to the environment. It is not adapted to the environment, then it becomes extinct. If it happens, all the organisms extinct. So the environmental factors, the temperature, the climatic conditions, they vary, they change from time to time. If organisms are produced without any changes, without any variations, they cannot exist in the changing physical world, in the physical atmosphere. You see, the bacteria are living in that water, in the marshy places. They are living at particular temperature. So if the temperatures of that place are raising up, high temperatures, then bacteria will die. But among those bacteria, if some bacteria have developed some variations which help them to survive in higher temperature, they will live. The bacteria which cannot survive in high temperature, the bacteria which do not have variations that help to live in high temperature will exist. See, I will explain you here. There is a bacteria called A here. Here is a bacteria called B. It produced A1, its generation, it produced B1. Both are able to live at 30 degrees temperature climatic condition. This A produced A1, the A1 is having a variation which can live up to 40 degrees Celsius. The B produced B1, it has got some variation, but not the variation which help to live in 40 degrees or it helped to produce it produced a variation which helped B1 to live in 21 degrees. Suppose in the environment the temperature is raised here to 40 degrees, then A will get the opportunity to survive because it has got the variation to live in 40 degrees. B1, its variation is living in 20 degrees Celsius, it will die. So in the nature, some organisms will extinct. We are reading in the books, so and so bird is became extinct, so and so animal became extinct, so and so animal is not found now, it is in the red book. Why the animals are extinct? Why they are becoming extinct? Because the variations in them are not helping the organisms to cope up and live in the particular environment. That is the reason they become extinct. So variations are advantageous, help the organisms. That it doesn't mean that all variations help all organisms. The variations are naturally coming in the organisms. Sometimes for some of the organisms, some variations are helpful, advantageous. Sometimes it is disadvantageous and they disappear. They become extinct. So these variations, they form the basis for the process of evolution. Anyhow, the variations in us, we have lot of variations when we compare with our forefathers and their bodies and to our present, because the environment is changing, everything is changing, the outer atmosphere is changing, the composition of air is changing, the temperatures are changing, global warming. So the next generations, the new generations whichever are coming up, they will have some variations. Some of the variations may become advantageous and help the organisms to survive.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.